in this pick and ban phase, what is he going to opt in for?
They are really thinking, taking their time. He has 9 seconds left. He has to choose.
Yeah, he has to pick something. The indecision is hard here. What does he decide to go with? He doesn't pick, and it's actually Bren's.
It's picked randomly because he didn't pick it?
He decided not to pick it. Icy Snake was chosen randomly, which is Bren's best map.
Okay.
So Bren can now think, what's my second best map? And then, you know, how 2 really good cards to begin with.
Oh. That is...
Looks like the pick is still going. We're waiting to see what Bren chooses here.
Maybe he's probably going to take his time too, I can imagine.
Let's see. Doesn't seem like the interface is correct, as that is not the correct picks we have on screen. By the looks of it here, I think we are going to Launchpad. The note we've been given is Launchpad into Poolside, into Bolt Holes, into Icy Snake, picked by Bren, and Pool Party being the last map. So we're opening on Launchpad here. This is picked by Binkss, and this is going to be the first map of the final chance.
Okay.
So the order we're seeing here, this is incorrect, everybody. So we're going with what the admins have told us here. It is Launchpad picked by Binkss ahead of Poolside from Bren. Then we have Bolt Holes from Binkss. Then we have Icy Snake from Bren, and Pool Party being the final map.
Yes, I feel like both of them have shown good pace on all maps. So, like, this can go whichever way, I imagine.
Yeah, it really can. And Bren picked this earlier on. Binkss also picked this earlier on. I think it's a map they're both very comfortable on. We know it has ice, where Bren really shines, or we've seen him shine. Also, we've seen Binkss, though, just be all around very fast.
He's not moving now. Maybe he's not back at his computer.
Do you know how skiers do before they go, like, downhill skiers, right? They close their eyes and then they visualize the entire track with the turns. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Like some players, I don't know if they do this in Trackmania, but some people do that in skiing, where they close their eyes and they visualize doing every turn, every movement. Some players just stretch as well and, you know, grab a drink, but you're using this warm-up time the best you can. Some players prefer not to drive.
I have experienced I have done competitive dancing, and then I tried to visualize, but I always failed in my visualization. So, but they're probably better at that than I was, hopefully.
Yeah, the thing is, you kind of have to, like, get it, you know, ingrained into your muscle memory. You should not be thinking about how to drive the map when you're doing it. It should just be execute, execute, execute.
That is true. Like,
the less you have to think under pressure, the better you could do it probably.
And honestly, how fast these are driving, they don't really have time to think. Like, it's not that they can, like, ooh, where should I set up into this turn? Okay, I go a little bit more to the right. They don't have time for that. They just have to know right away exactly where to set up.
Yeah, and then you just gotta go for it. I mean, you see how many of these turns are just full steers. They start steering and they just hold the steering all the way through. They don't tap or adjust, they just commit. And you have to know the timing, down to the 100th, when you can do that. And if you're a bit late, you're off. You're gonna crash, or you're gonna go too wide or lose too much time. It's an art form, I think.
Yeah, and we are supposed to start now. It looks like they need some more time, maybe because of the map picker.
Yeah, indeed. I think there's something being sorted out here. Always best with these things to just sort it out before. Then we have a clean match right after. It's more messy if you start the match and then there's problems. So let's iron out everything here. Give the players some time to both breathe and blink as much as they need before we start. So
it looks like they were told it's gonna start soon. No?
We might have about, you know, a couple minutes to get everything ready. Point format is different, point changes. But yeah, the way it's played out, you can see the overlay here behind the warm-up screen it is first to 3 map wins out of the 5
Yes.
maps. And just to go over the map pack order, oh well, never mind, I don't think we have time. Says it's starting in 2 seconds here, so ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your 2 finalists in the final chance. Binkss versus bren, 1 versus 1. We're starting on, oh, are we starting on Launchpad? Or are we going to Pool Party, as we might have expected?
Maybe it's Pool Party, Launchpad, Icy Snake, Bolt Holes, and then Poolside.
Oh, that might be more correct.
And now they have a short warm-up on this map. It seems like this is the map.
I think we are going to Pool Party.
Yes. That makes more sense. We thought Binkss would pick that first. Or you thought so.
Of course he would. I mean, he's been dominating this map in the previous rounds. Here, though, when it matters in the final, he needs to beat bren. First to 4 points wins the map. So they play at best of 7, and already bren off the edge. And here you're gonna start to see the knockout format take into effect, because on the checkpoint here, bren is far away. That's 1 checkpoint. He needs 2 more, and he wins the first round by knockout. He'll find 1 checkpoint here, and the next one is at the top of the next hill. Bren DNFs. This is a round win for Binkss, and that's right away, like 25 seconds driving, 1-0.
It's basically a free win at that point.
If you crash and your opponent doesn't, you are out.
Oh,
So,
wow,
so the dynamic is really interesting. You want to make sure that you don't lose rounds like that, because it feels like you didn't even have a chance, you know?
Hopefully bren does not let it get too, like, influence him too much, that start.
Yeah, here, oh no, that's another one. That is another one waiting to happen. This is more than 0.7, and Binkss is gonna find the first checkpoint here. The next one at the top of the hill, but he will have to get between the poles to secure another knockout win. Gonna go around here, and wait, is this the next checkpoint? Did he get it right here? No, he has to go through and find it right there, but that should be it for Binkss. The difference remains. That's a 2-0.
Oh, I feel so sorry for bren right now. That was not the best start, but hopefully he doesn't let it affect him too much, and he can come back. It's only the first map, and they need 3 map wins.
Yeah, that's a rough beginning here for bren. This corner failed the first round, now the next one in the second. But if he can get through here, we have a battle on our hands, and bren is in first. Now, just gotta try to stop the bleeding, to really focus and get into that mindset of driving fast runs like you've been doing all rounds previous. Here, Binkss onto a fast start like we've seen him do most rounds. This is one of his best maps. Goes so wide, uses all the space, and the speed is gonna let him build up this lead. Still staying ahead of bren before the dirt, where we know it's important to get speed. Bren hitting the wall again, and with an inside bump, it's another DNF. Binkss here, 3-0.
Oh, it seemed like Binkss picked this first for a very good reason. Like you said, this can be a psychological battle. Like, if you don't do well enough in the start, it can really tear on your psyche.
Yeah, and we were thinking, like, what if you pick your best map and then you waste it? Look at Binkss here. I mean, he's speedrunning it. He has not wasted any round, and he's instantly finalist. 1 more round here, and Binkss wins the map. bren now, he has to win 4 in a row against Binkss on one of his best maps to try to secure this one.
Yeah, it seems like Binkss has this first map in the bag, but it's not one yet.
No, we know finalist mode tends to mess with people.
Anything can happen still.
As soon as your name tag goes red, you're like, okay, time to choke, and then everything goes wrong. So it's not over yet. This is a high pressure situation. You have just about won the match, but you need to win 1 more round to secure it. And Binkss is gonna try to do that right here. Bigger lead than in the previous round, but now into the dirt. Bren has not made a mistake yet. It's his first clean round, but Binkss is so fast. Even when bren doesn't make a mistake, the gap is increasing up to 0.3, and Binkss really looks to be able to hold this in the ending. Gonna dive low into the dirt. bren going lower, too low. Fails to game a limbo on the dirt, and now a knockout is building. 1 checkpoint there. The second one will be here, and he has to get to the finish before it is a knockout. But this is just a stomp on the first map. Binkss winning
Wow.
well-deservedly, 116-21. Okay, that is going to be a 1-0 now in the finals.
He just, oh wow, he got that first point like so fast. That didn't even seem like a fight.
And
But
the question you have to think about is like, even if bren didn't crash, would it be close? Binkss looked unstoppable on that map, and it is a win.
But this next pick is Bren's pick.
Yeah, we are going to Launchpad, and Bren chose this. Now, this might not be Bren's best map, but what he thinks probably is that it's his best map against Binkss.
Yeah, I think mentally Bren is just like, okay, the first map, Binkss picked that. He knew he would do well. That one doesn't matter. Now it's my time to shine.
Because we mentioned, like, in the previous round, Binkss actually picked Icy Snake. He wanted it. He didn't get to play it because he won before that. And that's why Bren looked so dominant there. So maybe Binkss is actually really good on Icy Snake. And that's why Bren now is saying, okay, let's go Launchpad and try to make this an even 1-1 match. And out of the start here, Bren has gotten a lead before we get to the ice where he really shines.
Bren has shown to be very fast on this map. It's only the last turn that is gonna count.
Oh, but he goes right across the snow!
Oh no!
Oh no, he's not a snowmobile, he's driving a Formula race car. Going for an unfortunate line. It's 55 Binkss though!
Oh!
This is gonna be a knockout in Bren's favor. Crashing before the grass is costly.
Oh yeah, you
And
lose so much speed there.
that is a quick 3 checkpoints in a row. Bren answering right back here. 1-0 on Launchpad.
Oh, that must feel great for Bren though, to kind of get that back at Binkss.
And I mean, he was very close to getting KO'd again. Like,
Yeah.
0.55 on that checkpoint, it could start to build. Luckily, Binkss makes a mistake and Bren is able to bounce back. Here though, Binkss going for this different start line. Will have more speed on the grass if executed correctly. Here he does it, and you can see he's a car length ahead. Here you gotta commit for the turn, and Binkss hesitates a little bit. Perfect turn from Bren.
He kept so much speed through that turn. That was so clean.
Now on the ice though, you see Binkss here. He's getting closer, more speed, and better angle perhaps. Better setup. Binkss might go too wide and he has to release. How much will the gap be now? Only 0.2 before they get to the turn and Bren can stabilize. They might be going to the ending for the first time on any map.
Yeah.
We've only seen crashes so far, but here, this could flip either way on the identity. Let's not forget this corner where Bren has struggled massively, going so close, but he gets through. And now the jump, Binkss wide. Binkss having to release a lot. Bren getting closer, Bren committing early, but Binkss will take it. It's 1-1 now.
Oh, that was close. I felt like Bren had a very good start of the jump, but the ending, he went too high. Had to release more and then lost to Binkss in the end. 1-1 on this map right now. It can basically go either way.
But it might go Bren's favor here. How much is that going to cost on the grass? Binkss is very slow, and this might mess up his muscle memory for the turn. I don't know if he knows how to take it at this speed. It is 0.4 already out of the first 20 seconds. And when Bren sees some of the splits, he might adapt his racing lines to be a little bit more safe. Messes up the ice slide. Never mind Binkss. Right back up into first here. And with an aggressive turn there, this is a lot of speed for the grass. Binkss gaining time here on Bren. Suddenly the roles are reversed. It's Binkss up by 0.4 before the ending now. Can Bren catch this back up and defeat his demons in the next corner?
It's only the last jump through the rings again. Both have done tiny mistakes. Did Binkss just
hit the wall? Yes, he did.
And he hit the ring as well. And DNF giving the point to Bren. Oh, he must really, I think hitting the wall just got him out of his rhythm and he couldn't do the jump properly.
He was way too far on the left, before the jump and could not get the correct line. That is something that happens, and you know, you practice to drive the map a certain way. You also practice and you try to get consistent, even if it doesn't go exactly as you planned. But there are just some situations where you know, like, okay, I am going to crash. There's no recovery. There's no, it's over. And that was one of the situations, but there is another round here. Bren 2-1. Now a way closer round than we've had previously.
Yes, Bren has shown earlier to be very fast on that ice slide, but it has kind of fumbled with it this round. Had a cleaner ice slide now, but Binkss had a better exit.
Indeed, and I mean, we're seeing a lot of nerves. I think the players are finally getting settled because now we see more consistency. Now we see them get to the ending. Now we see a close fight. Who's going to get the best jump here? The difference remains 0.10. Bren with a very direct approach, but that is a terrible respawn, and Binkss is going to take this 2-2 now.
This map has been a very close one. I feel like Bren should take this as his map choice, but Binkss is giving him a very tough fight.
Yeah, they are driving 104, the world record a 104.34 for Mutta, so just breaking under 105. We were driving incredibly fast within a second of the world record here, and now they are looking a lot more comfortable. Looks like they've really found the rhythm. We are having close fights every single round, and tiny differences can decide it here, like a great early ice approach from Binkss. Will he go too far with this one though? No, he stabilizes, centers his car, gets around the turn, and this is a big lead into the grass, Majijej.
Yeah, it's all in the last plastic. Who can get the good speed slides, a lot of speed into the last jump? We've seen Binkss had a very good ending so far, except for that one hit towards the wall. If he does it clean, he can take the first finalist on this one.
Oh, bit wide again, but we know that's what he goes for. Bren way too wide. Bren's gonna miss the ring.
Yeah.
Binkss into finalist, another 104.
Binkss had a beautiful ending. It looked like Bren could have a clean jump through the ring, but went too wide. I think he tried to keep too much speed and then missed the ring at the end.
Yeah, and now, you know, if your opponent wins your map pick, you're down 2 maps, you're going to Icy Snake, and your opponent is just 1 map away from winning. That's a lot of pressure on Bren, and especially thinking he's come this far. He won in the final 9, he won in the final 6, and in the final 4, only to fail at the final hurdle. Hopefully not. Let's see Bren here fight back and show that he also deserves this spot right now. Binkss looking like the clear favorite.
Imagine if we can get double finalists on this map. That would
very well could here. I mean, Bren would have to make a massive comeback in the ending. It is 0.4. He will get a better speed slide before this checkpoint, 0.38, and that will shrink here most likely 0.34, but it's still so much to try to find in just 1 jump. How will he be able to do it? That's actually gonna be a knockout. He just needs to get the rings. 77 into... Yeah, I think that's a knockout. I don't think he needs the ending. No, Bren denies the knockout, but it will still be a win here. Binkss taking it, and he wins the map.
Oh, no.
2-0 for Binkss.
Bren must feel so defeated. This was his map pick, and he did not get the point. Now Binkss has 2 points. He only needs 1 more map win, and he will have the last spot in the final.
But if anything, we know that Bren is very fast on this exact map. This is Icy Snake.
Yes.
His endings have been masterful. The question is, with a 2-0 scoreline, can he drive that now as well?
It seemed like he has been struggling being consistent on the maps previous. Lot of pressure, I can imagine. But maybe because he feel like he knows this map very well, he can relax and show us really how well he can drive.
I mean, it's easy to drive well when you feel like the winds are blowing in your favor, you know? Like, the world is just all going according to what you want. But here now, things are going very against Bren, and he really has to fight back on his territory, you could say. But we know Binkss picked this map earlier today, and he did win rounds when it was picked, so let's see how he holds up against Bren. Better start, 0.15 of a lead here. Bren getting a little closer, but the corkscrew loop and also the ice part are the 2 most defining features on Icy Snake.
Yes, and Bren has been so fast on the ice. Can he show that today when it counts the most?
In the finals against Binkss, down 2 maps. If you're gonna show it, might as well be now or never, as this season would then be over here within 0.10 with a chance at winning. Just needs a better Ice Snake. Bren setting up wide, trying to go earlier than Binkss. Will have an earlier setup here, but is it too early? Almost clips, and he has to go wide to avoid the crash. Binkss with a better approach for the final turn, but Bren on the inside trying. Bren wins the first round by 0.04 of a second, and he does show up when it matters. He takes the first round, and perhaps he turns the tide.
Oh, he really shows how well he can drive that last ice slides.
And you wouldn't believe it, Binkss with a mistake before the grass. This is going in Bren's favor right now. He was able to gain a lead from 0.10 down. Here, he's half a second up just about in the start. Now the question is, and this is always the question, when you have a lead in Trackmania, do you try to drive safe to not crash, or do you try to drive your regular pace? Because if you drive too safe here, Binkss will be able to catch up slowly but surely.
I don't think it was the big mistakes he needs so he can drive safe. I think he has to still risk it to keep that lead on, but we might see a comeback from Bren here. He's driving this map very well, and it's up to the Ice Snake, which Bren has shown to be very fast at. I don't think Binkss can catch up on this one.
He's actually extended his lead since the start mistake from Binkss. Still 0.5, 2 good ice slides here. Bren is gonna go very fast. He's not losing any ground, and he's actually gaining. This is a good time from Bren, a 1:08.71, 4/10 from the world record in the finals of the final chance. Yeah, he's back.
It looks like this was a great third map to have for Bren, really getting himself back up on his feet and showing why he deserves to be in the final.
Yeah, gotta suck for Binkss to crash the very first corner of the map. Like, you haven't even driven 5 seconds. Here, he has not done that mistake, and, well, he can really show what he's good for as well, because he is one of the world's fastest on this exact map here. He's fighting Bren, and quite frankly, winning the fight so far. That is 0.2 of a second ahead before the corkscrew looping. Now, we know you want to set up wide here, carry a lot of speed into the downhill, but still try to get to the reset early. That is good by both players. Bren using more space in the loop is gonna be able to gain just 100 with that. Thought it might be more, but they are driving equal every step of the way here before the ice.
Yeah, we see that Binkss has a very good middle part on this map, but Bren really shines in the ending. Can we see the good ice slide he has shown us up until now? Going very close, almost clipping there, losing a bit of speed. Binkss seemed to take this point. He does.
And Binkss answers right back. That's a 108 in his face. 2-1 now.
Binkss shows why he actually picked this map himself and not Bren. But Bren can always catch up again.
Yeah, Bren, I mean, if he's just within like a 10th, that is something you don't want to have. You want to be able to build up a lead against Bren that you can try to drive a bit safer, because Bren is just holding nothing back in the end. It's like he's not, you know, he's not scared. He's just going all in. He
really has nothing to lose. He knows that Binkss just need this map and we will have a spot in the final. Bren knows he just have to go all out to have a chance at getting back at Binkss.
And now when you find yourself behind Bren after the middle part, you're starting to wonder, how on earth am I gonna win this round? Binkss gonna try in the dirt here, I think, to get a little closer, but that is a bit too much on the inside. You wanna go more on the outside there to carry more speed, and Bren will be a 10th ahead before the ice. Binkss gonna have to commit very early to this, and he does that really well. That's a beautiful turn from Binkss. Early setup here, and if he can get the last one early, oh, this might be a comeback from Binkss. This is gonna be a very early turn. Bren is gonna defend, but who gets the most speed? Oh, Bren gets it. Binkss had a gear up right before the finish, stuttering his car, and Bren with the outside approach to inside wins. He's now finalist.
He just needs this last point, and he will get back at Binkss and actually get a big point, which is really what he needs right now.
This looked like a very messy grand final to begin with. Crashes after crashes after crashes. Look at these rounds now. They're decided by a 10th. They're decided by the last 2 turns. This is coming down to the wire between these two great players. And whoever wins now, I think we've really seen a fantastic performance by both. So shout outs to them. But bren now, he could make it a 2-1 scoreline. Unless Binkss will have to win 3 in a row to close the match here. This is looking like it's going the way of bren before one more time on the ice.
Oh yeah, Binkss is going very wide there for a setup. It looks like bren has the most speed and is gonna go first into the ice line, but it's all...
Binkss is very wide here. This is not a good setup. This is
clips.
him falling off, respawning, and bren has this on a silver platter. Just needs to put on the sunglasses and slide into the finish. 1:08.59 to end it. Great time from bren. Might as well call him the Big Ben because he gets a big point there. 2 more to go before he could win the finals.
You would think after Binkss got the first 2 maps, it would have been done there, but we see Big Ben cashing back up, and now it's in bolt holes. I think we've seen both players drive this map very well. It's a scary one. After all these mistakes on these other maps, I have no idea how this map is gonna go.
I mean, the thing about this map, it's a very long map. Like, it's 78 seconds, 1 minute 18 seconds. And bren has picked this earlier today. I think he picked it in the final 6, where he won this one, but it's a hard one to drive consistently, especially the jumps, because you want to commit for so much speed, but you could easily also crash and lose it all.
So we'll see. The first round is starting. I imagine Binkss is starting to get a little stressed, seeing bren drive faster and faster. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is a good spot there from the psychologist next to me. Reading the player and knowing when the crash is going to happen. Binkss going bonks into the tree, you could say, and it will be a point for Big Ben.
I feel like sometimes having such a big lead in the start and then losing it afterwards is almost more stressful than getting it back again.
You know, like, if you're the favorite to win, the pressure's also on you.
Yeah. So basically free point from bren there. Yep, tree for Binkss. Can Binkss get past the tree again? He did, thank God.
And this is when you gotta stop the bleeding, right? We had bren do this on the first map where it was 3 crashes. And Binkss was instantly finalist. Here, Binkss has to not let that one crash get to him and try to salvage the situation here. Only a 10th behind, a bit of a high jump. bren is gonna get further ahead, but Binkss can set up early. And he tries to make a comeback there. It will not really work in his favor. bren just getting further ahead. Oh my, very close to the corner.
Binkss really tried for an inside line there, but just lost so much speed from it. Not a good choice. But it seems like he's catching a bit up here on the grass. But
that was a beautiful full speed part. Binkss now actually getting closer. He has more speed than bren.
Yeah.
And you will see this gap shrink a little bit, but bren has the lead going towards the identity. The 3 jumps between the bolts here. You want to line up from the right side, do a movement to the left to reduce airtime, and now Binkss with more speed is going to get a little bit closer. They're going to do the same here, but Binkss is too much. He has to release. It will be bren if he hits the last jump, but bren almost misses. Just barely gets into the finish and secures the first point.
He got 2 points. That must feel great for bren. We have seen earlier Binkss have managed to keep a lot of speed through the jumps. Almost too much speed, actually.
Yeah, he crashed earlier today by having too much speed. Something that the mappers didn't even know was possible, I imagine.
But it seems like the bonk, the hit of the bolts did...
Yeah, he had no option there. Yeah, he had no option.
There was no choice.
But to release once he was off the line. And that's the thing, like, you have a little bit of time to line up the jumps, and you want to do that diagonal movement. So you have to know exactly when to stop turning to line up each jump. You have to aim it from far away. And if you're a little bit off, that has big consequences. So now we see a bit of a flip of the previous round. It's Binkss with a huge lead going into this part. Binkss also doing that turn just as well as bren to keep that lead, but bren barely touching the wall. I couldn't even see the crash.
I think he slightly grazed the wall there, enough to lose so much speed, so he couldn't get that jump.
Oh, just a couple of pixels away from making the turn.
And he does lose to the knockout. Binkss doesn't even need to do the jumps. Oh, that's a bad. Oh no, that's not a good one for Bren.
Very unfortunate there, yeah, but it's the small differences, like
yeah,
a couple of pixels there, a couple of pixels on the jump. It's the same thing. You have to be on point all the way through for the longest map in the map pack. Both players extremely close.
They were so close to the tree. Bren going actually very wide there, keeping a lot of speed through this turn, kind of inching his way closer to Binkss here. Who has the best jump?
Oh,
Bren very
with a
low.
lot of speed for the setup. Oh, but he's coming drift too early. And now less speed on the reactor wall. Binkss again with a huge lead. It's so hard to know when to commit for this drift because of the downhill. You can't even see the exit of the turn when you turn in. You just have to know where it's at. Binkss landing early before the grass. Good setup here. There's going to be a lot of speed. And very tough for Bren to catch this up now.
Can we see it though? We have seen Bren has driven very fast in the ending. It all comes down to this last identity through the holes. The jumps is all that matters right now.
Oh no! It was a little bit off, a couple of pixels is all it takes. Bren with one more jump. He knows he's in first now, and Bren will secure that. Under Bink's nose, just a quick little seal.
Like I said, nothing is decided until these ending jumps.
Are we gonna have a map 5? Is it all gonna be decided on Poolside? Bren is finalist. One more round will put us to a 2-2 scoreline, and Poolside will decide it all. Unless Binkss thinks he can come back here, he's gonna give it his best shot in this round and maybe the next ones.
And like we said, this is Bink's first time in Grand League. I imagine his heart is racing right now. It's now or never.
It really is. I mean, there's a next season, but you're gonna have to wait months to show what you're capable of. So you might as well try to do it now in this match. Go into the finals next weekend and see how you stack up against the very best here against Bren. He's trying, he gets more speed on the dirt. Bren had an awkward approach. This will put us level next to each other on the dirt, on the grass dive. And look at how close it is.
They're side by side.
52 seconds, we have 100th of a second between them. Now, who can set up the best here? You want to go high and then low to get more speed. Bren with the best turn on the grass there. Now a car length ahead, but he misses the drift. And Binkss is going to get to know this on the next split. Just needs to survive the jumps. He gets 2 of them. Now the last one coming up here. Binkss will not fall yet. He does get another one, needs 2 more.
It's not over yet. Bren is still finalist. He still has to win 1 more. And Binkss is closing in, almost finalist himself.
It's crazy. It's absolutely wild how close these rounds are. I mean, both have to be feeling the pressure now. This went from one of the messiest finals to one of the cleanest. Now we have both players extremely precise driving here, so they know it can flip either way. So let's just see what happens. We know Bren likes to go for more speed here. It has cost him a little bit because he will have to have an early setup to compensate. Does he get that here? That looks like a cleaner movement. He will keep up with Binkss now. And this turn was where we saw Binkss really win it last time. Run into the wall. We're gonna have a double finalist. This is 3 quick checkpoints across the stretch. Double finalist. If Binkss wins, he wins the final chance. If Bren wins, we go to the final map.
You saw Bren really try to risk there with an inside line, but then ended up going too wide and into the corner.
And that turn, I can tell you, is so tricky because you drift into it, but you cannot see the exit. You don't know where the corner is. It's all based on feeling, how much you have to press brake. He tries to go for a little bit too much there, and he bites off more than he can chew. Final round here, double finalist. This is whoever wins this map, and for Binkss, it would mean the tournament. For Bren, it would mean another chance to come back here after being 2 maps down.
Oh yes, if Binkss get this, he will actually be in the final.
Yeah, this could be the final round here. Bren trying to hold on though. He needs to win this to postpone the match to get 1 more chance on Poolside against Binkss. Right now he is doing so. Clutch performance up in first. He is by 1400ths ahead of Binkss. Before the grass needs to start wide here. Binkss does that really well. Is it too wide? Is he gonna have to pay for that on the exit? No, it's good. And he is gonna gain a little bit here in the wall ride, trying to get closer before the grass. Wide here could pay off with speed across the penalty grass. Now a little bit closer. This is coming right down to the jumps, to the diagonal movement between the bolts. Binkss is getting closer. He tries everything he can. More speed than bren with 2 jumps to go. Is it gonna be enough for the finish line? Bren is trying to hold on, but it's a car length. Who's gonna have it? Bren holds on, and we go to map 5. This is unheard of.
That was so close.
300th of a second is enough for Bren to extend the match, and we have one final map to decide final chance.
Bren has another shot. It's not too late for Bren. He still has a shot at getting into the final. This is the single map to decide it all.
7 potential rounds on Poolside, and we are done. We know who's going to be the 9th player that plays the grand finals next weekend, same time. You do not want to miss it. We are going to have the 9 best players in the world face off.
And one of these two is going to be there.
This is just a starter dish. You know, we're going to have the main course and the dessert next weekend, so don't miss that. But let's enjoy this here, one of the craziest 1v1s that I've seen. This is gonna be a treat.
Yeah. Imagine if we get both finalists now as well.
I mean, let's, well.
It's all into this map. Who has driven this map the best so far? The Poolside.
It's hard to say, actually. I mean, I remember vaguely Bren doing some 1:11.3, the world record here, a 1:11.03, so 3 tenths faster. I think Binkss was getting around that pace as well. But really, when it comes down to this, and with the pressure they're feeling, it's like, I think they're just as equal. I think it's not about pace, but about who can handle the nerves.
We got to remember, nobody picked this map. None of them picked this map.
Yeah, this was the random one. They didn't want this.
Nobody wanted this. So, like, you don't actually know who is feeling most confident on this one. But
here they are. As we see Bren driving the warm-ups, Binkss just resting, standing on the starting line, not really using that minute to play the map, but rather maybe to stretch, maybe to relax a bit, take a breath, blink a couple of times, and then stare down this 1 minute long track against his formidable opponent Bren for a couple of more rounds to decide this tournament. Here we go into the first round on Poolside. Bren in a small lead here, but almost into the wall. Wide setup on the water for Binkss, and let's now see into the dirt who gets the best exit speed. Looks to be Bren. Oh, he jumps. Bren jumps with the exit speed that he had, losing a big gap to Binkss, who will try to extend the triangle line. Bren is going to do it to match. It's 0.34 now before the dirt part and the ending.
I will say, it's not that big of a lead. Anything can still happen. I know Bren knows it's not over yet. He still has the last turn, the identity through the pools.
And Bren is getting closer. This is not over. Binkss chokes, and Bren takes the lead. But does Bren know that he has the lead here? He might have thought it was over, but now he's gonna try his best. Look who comes back into the frame. It's Binkss. He's not done yet. Half a second to spare, and he will take it.
He had more speed. He took a wider line at the end turn and got more speed. You thought it was over, but no.
Have you seen the picture where it's like, call an ambulance, but not for me? Binkss crashing, you think he's down and out. Guess what? He's back, and he takes the first point. Now only 3 rounds away from qualifying to the finals. That was a messy round, but Binkss wins the mud fight.
He does, but the first point is not what decides this. They still have a lot of rounds to go to actually decide it, Binkss.
This time he's gonna need the ambulance. That looked painful. And that's gonna be a quick one to the 3rd checkpoint right after this turn. There's no way for Binkss to survive here. This is the win for Bren.
Call an ambulance. But it is for me.
This time I'd like it, please. Thank you. 1-1.
This one I need actually the ambulance now, please.
All right, not the cleanest start, but the nerves are real here. They traded 1-1. Now the 3rd round in. We saw a 112, but without mistakes, that's easily 111 that they're capable of here. And it really comes down to the lines they opt to drive. This map, it's special. It has so many potential lines you can drive, like going wide into the dirt here. That's one we know players fancy doing. As well, we also know the players can go for that triangle that we saw in the middle here. Binkss,
yes.
A lot of speed extending, and with the hold on, bren, a beautiful line there into the triangle now. Early dive for bren. Binkss going a bit wider to try to carry more speed towards the dirt turn. They are even once again, like we've seen all match pretty much. Now up the hill, do they go for the slide or do they no slide? Let's take a look. Binkss is sliding, bren is no sliding. Will they go for the left side pole approach? Bren going on the right side, both jumping through the checkpoint. It's still Binkss in the lead, going through the turn wide with more speed. He is gonna have a car length ahead of Bren before the final water turn. Bren sliding out, and Binkss takes the 2-1 lead.
He takes the second point. They were side by side almost the entire round. It really shows how stressful the ending pool is. It's so easy to lose grip, hit that wall, and just lose it all. The pressure must be huge. Can we actually get a finalist now, or is Bren gonna have a comeback?
Yeah, and I mean the time there, just to comment on it, 1:11.46 in a grand final of a tournament like this. You drive within 0.4 of the world record. Very impressive from Binkss to pull out that right now. We saw the biggest difference, that uphill line where Bren is doing a no slide and Binkss is sliding. I don't know which one is faster. It really comes down to your preference. But Bren might not have to try to win it out there, because now it's gonna be a knockout. 2 seconds, 3 quick checkpoints here. That's a 2-2 scoreline.
Bren just needs to keep the space or his speed. And that was easy. I imagine Binkss is so stressed right now. So that's probably those tiny mistakes, and especially on dirt. Just one tiny tap, the wrong angle, and you slide out into the poles.
And just considering what this matchup means, we're watching one of the most well-established French Trackmania players in the scene, Bren. He's been around for years in Dignitas, an expert, together with other players that we know, household names, versus young Binkss on a laptop keyboard, who joined the league this year, now fighting for it. 2 rounds to go before we'll have, or 3 rounds to go before we'll have a winner. We'll have to see, but this is really anyone's game, and it still is so close between both players.
They're side by side, and this will show who will get the first and maybe only finalist. And who will, wait!
Binkss has finalist status secured. Bren just hit retire. He knew as soon as he saw the jump that was not gonna work. And now you really gotta get one final breather before you know you have to win twice in a row if you're Bren.
The newcomer, Binkss, is now showing his skills properly, how fast he can be, how steady, and maybe he will actually be in the final, the first Grand League.
It might just come down to this 1 minute of driving, this one round of Trackmania to decide the outcome that we've seen be so close between Bren and Binkss. Starting out this round, it's Bren in the lead. We know he goes a bit wide on this turn. It's been so close to the wall numerous times, and he just needs to get through it here with the high line. Binkss will follow with a bit more speed. Now, none of them are fancying the widest line here. You could gain more speed. It's exceedingly risky to go for. Bren still has a car length in his favor, and he will get a little bit further ahead at the exit of the dirt.
Oh, Bren is keeping a lot of speed here. Binkss is kind of falling behind, but we've seen the ending.
He touched. You might have your wish granted, Majijej. He touched the wall, and this is just going to cost speed across this entire straight before the turn. Bren is going to be monstrously far ahead here, actually almost in the knockout zone. Will it be a double finalist situation with Bren half a second ahead with 2 turns to go? It might just come down to the last round. I think it's going all the way. We are going to double finalists.
We're actually... both have 2 points, and both are finalists right now. This is the single deciding round to show who will get to play the finals next week.
Whoever wins this, it has to be said for both players. What a performance. This is a coin flip, but they both played excellent Trackmania all day, and I think they both have shown they earned the spot. Only one can go through, and we will now find out who that is.
Oh, should we? Da, 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 da.
Some tense music before
Da, da,
the whistle blows. It could go at any moment here. There's only one mistake that could cause it. This is not gonna end well for one of these players if they make a single mistake. Right now, though, exactly even on the split. Bren in the lead, ahead of Binkss. Binkss coming back with more speed into the dirt, making it even on the split once again. Wider setup for Binkss here, more speed, and he's gonna go for the slide. Bren is gonna slow down, straighten out his car, and not slide from the water. Keep the grip with the surface. Binkss now a little bit behind, but he has drier tires. Catching back up, big jump from Binkss, getting through the checkpoint. Bren touched it a little bit, losing ground. Binkss is on the victory march. He's only one turn away from going into the finals. Bren, final chance, but no, Binkss wins in the last round, 3-2.
Binkss, first ever Grand League, and he secured himself a place in the final.
It went all the way. It could not have been closer.
Oh.
It was the final that we could have dreamt of, to be honest.
You know what? Very well deserved for Binkss. He really showed that he deserves that one. Played so well. Wow.
That's honestly a match for the history books.
Wow.
That's a match for the history books.
Have it ever been that close?
It has, but I gotta say, they were so level all the way after the early crashes and the nerves stabilized. They were just toe-to-toe every step of the way.
It seemed like the first couple of rounds, they kind of warmed up, relaxed, and then the last round they really showed how well they can drive.
And what this now means is that if we take a look at the league leaderboards, you will have the top 8 players here, and Binkss, who was the 9th player in the regular season. So
yes.
The top 9 players actually on this board, they will all face out in a very similar tournament next weekend. So if you check the schedule here and you enjoyed this was only the starter dish. Mark your calendar, because next weekend at the same time, December 19th, they are playing the final, and that's going to be for who gets the trophy.
Yeah, and that's going to be even more intense.
I mean, could we handle that? I don't know.
I was like,
even I'm
on
stressed.
The edge of my
even
seat.
I'm nervous for these players. They are the ones driving the car. I couldn't handle the pressure.
Next week, we'll actually see the best of the best go head to head exactly like this.
And I mean, we've been keeping track of the world records. Like Mudda, for example, has world records on 3 of these maps that we've seen the players drive. We also have other players like Scrappy, who has really good pace. Gwen, really good pace. It's gonna be fireworks.
I have no idea. I have no idea who's gonna win.
So yeah,
I imagine it's gonna be so close.
It's impossible to tell at this point. But guys, I really hope you enjoyed the cast of the finals. This is our first time casting it. I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, I think I was a little bit nervous, but I think it worked out